Hello, in this video I'm gonna show you the first things that you can do on Samsung Galaxy M55 5G after the initial setup. So if you want to learn a little bit more what you can do in order to set it up properly, then let's get right into it. The first thing that we can do is open the settings and we want to go to software updates. So let's tap software update, and over here we want to check if there is any update that we need to install. If we have the information that the software is up to date, then of course we are good to go. On the other hand, if there is an update to be made, then surely you should make the update. So download and install it. The first step is done. Another one is that we should go to security and privacy. So still being in the settings, we want to go over here. And we need to pretty much go through every step, every option over here. Maybe not every single one of them, but surely it is a good idea to do that. So for instance, over here we can set up the lock screen. We can use the screen lock. I already have set up mine, but essentially we can use the pin code, we can use the password, pattern, swipe, or just simply turn off the screen lock entirely. And in addition to that, we can also set up the face recognition and fingerprints sensors. If we go back, then over here we have some additional options like extend unlock. Let's enter the pin code one more time. And over here we have on body detection, trusted places and trusted devices. So you can go through these options as well. We have the secure lock settings. So if you want to use the secure lock, then over here you have these options. And in addition to that, we also have AOD, but we will get back to that pretty soon. Let's go back to security and privacy. Over here we have account security, so if you set up your Samsung account, then I'm pretty sure you want to make sure that the account is safe. We have the lost device protection, so you need to allow this phone to be found just in case we want to send last location. And we also have offline finding, which locates your phone even if it's offline, and help others find their device. So this is pretty good option as well. You can turn it on. You can also read a little bit more information about this information, so you can keep it on. And you can also go inside over here to find even encrypt offline location. So if you want to make sure that you can find your device even if you lose it, then this is definitely a way to go. And we also have app security, so here we can check we can scan the phone. Of course, if you just run the initial setup, then it's not really important, but it's always good to know where you can do the scan for the future. And over here we can go to biometrics, and here we can set up the face recognition and fingerprints. We can also see some options if we go into each one of them. So if we go to fingerprints, over here we can find all fingerprints that we have added. We have some fingerprint options and so on and so forth. So if you set up one of these, then make sure to go through these settings as well in order to adjust them to your needs. And the next thing that I want to show you is the AOD settings. So if we go back to the lock screen and AOD, then over here we can go to always on display, and of course here we can enable the AOD if it's not already enabled. But in addition to that, we also have some options like show music information, and we can read a little bit more about the always on display. We can also select when we want to show the AOD, and essentially we want to also personalize it. So if you want to do that, then you need to go to themes in the settings. We will open the Galaxy themes, and you want to switch at the bottom to AODs. If you want only free AODs, then you want to switch to, let's say, top, and then over here on the left side we can choose free. And this is how we can get animated, cool looking AODs. And let's say I'm gonna choose this one, because why not? And all you need to do is simply download it and apply it. And we can choose to use the image only or both clock and image. So I'm gonna choose both, and let's see how it looks like. And there we go. It looks pretty cool, not gonna lie. Of course you can search for something more specific for yourself. Let's get back to the settings. The next thing that I want to show you are actually the battery settings. So in the settings you want to go to the battery. Over here you can turn on the power saving. Here you can read some more information. You can select what should be done when the power saving is on, and yeah, so this is essential if you want to keep your battery for a little bit longer. And let's go back. We have background usage limits, where we can enable the option to put unused apps to sleep. We can also exclude some apps from this feature. We have battery protection, so this is also something that we should do if we care about our battery. Over here you can read more information about this feature, but essentially the device will try to keep your battery at a healthy state if there is a risk of making it worse. So for instance, if you charge your device often, or when it is connected to the charger pretty much all the time, then you can use adaptive or maximum battery protection in order to stop your battery from charging or actually overcharging, because this is of course bad for your battery. And if we go down, then we can also see what uses the most battery. We can see the battery usage. We can also go to charging settings, and over here we can see the charging information. We can enable fast charging if we want to, and we can also enable and disable the show battery percentage, which is visible in the top right corner. Next thing is the display settings. Over here we can switch to the dark mode, so if you want to use the dark mode, then this is how we can turn it on pretty quickly. We can also go to dark mode settings in order to make the dark mode adaptive, so we can make it turn itself on whenever we need. So if we enable this option, then we can set the schedule, or we can create our custom one, or we can use sunset to sunrise. And of course, in the display settings, we can also find the adaptive brightness. So if you don't like using adaptive brightness, if you want to have the same level of brightness of your screen all the time, then you can turn off adaptive brightness, and over here you can move the slider in order to adjust the brightness pretty much like so. And we also have the motion smoothness, which is the option for refresh rate. Over here, if you choose adaptive, then your smartphone will use up to 120 Hz refresh rate. If you use standard, then you will use 60 Hz refresh rate all the time. We also have the eye comfort shield, which turns the screen a little bit more orange in order to protect your eyes. We can adjust the font size and style, and we can also use the screen zoom, which is actually in the display size, and so on and so forth. We also have some cool features over here, like the easy modes or the edge panels, and we can select the navigation bar. So if you want to use swipe gestures to navigate, then you can select it over here. If not, you have 3 buttons at the bottom of the screen, and so on and so forth. So check these settings out. Next up is the gestures. So we can go to advanced features, and over here we have several gestures and shortcuts that we can enable. For instance, if we go to side button, then over here we can select if you want to use Bixby, which is the Samsung assistant, if we press and hold the power button, or if you want to see the power off menu. We can also enable the double press shortcut for the side button, which is the power button once again, and we can either use the camera, quick launch camera option, or we can select a specific app. So here we can choose what we want to open when we double press the power button. Now let's go back, and we can also go to multi-window in order to find swipe options. We can swipe for a split screen, we can swipe for pop-up view, which is the floating windows or floating apps, which is pretty cool. And we can also use full screen in split screen view as well. So if you feel like it, go for them and enable these options. And of course, you can also tap on these options in order to see those gestures and how they work. We also have the motions and gestures, where we can enable lift to wake. We have double tap options in order to enable and disable the screen. We have alert when phone picked up. We have mute with the gestures, and palm swipe to capture, which is pretty good if you want to make screenshots like so. So instead of using buttons, you can just swipe with your palm across the screen, or from the left to the right actually. And this is how we can make the screenshots. We also have the one-handed mode over here, but it is not really that often used, I suppose. And in terms of shortcuts, you can also go to accessibility and then go to advanced settings in order to find some accessibility shortcuts as well, like side and volume up buttons, which should happen when you press it, as well as volume up and down buttons. So this is pretty cool as well. Now, another thing that we want to do is turn on or off the mobile data. So in the settings you can go to connections, and then over here go to mobile networks, sorry, not mobile networks but SIM manager, and over here you have mobile data. In my case this was off, so here if you use, especially if you use 2 SIM cards, then you can choose which SIM card should be used for the mobile data. So you can select your preferred SIM card or your only SIM card in order to activate the mobile data. And going back to connections, we also have the NFC and contactless payment. So if you want to pay with your Samsung Galaxy M55 5G without having to use your credit or debit card, if you want to pay with your smartphone, then over here you need to enable NFC in order to have that feature enabled, essentially. However, in addition to that, we will need to download Google Wallet. So this is the next step that I want to show you, or actually talk about, and that is the download of some necessary apps that are missing by default. I mean, there are alternatives, except for the Google Wallet. I couldn't find anything that would be used as a wallet for the smartphone. So you need to go to the Play Store, and then you want to find the Google Wallet. So let's actually type Google Wallet. There we go, and you want to download the app in order to set up your credit or debit card and then use the NFC and pay with your device. Another app that is missing is Files by Google. So let me actually search for Google Files. There we go. And of course, this is the one that we want to install. And another one is Google Calendar. Now, this smartphone by default has the similar apps to Files by Google and Google Calendar. But if you are used to the Google Files app and if you are used to Google Calendar, then I assume you would prefer to use those instead of those that are installed on Samsung. So we have the Calendar app, which essentially is pretty much really the same as Google Calendar, but I understand if someone prefers the Google one. But here we can do everything as well. And for the Files by Google, we need to go to the Samsung folder, and over here we have My Files, and this is pretty much Google Files, but by Samsung. And actually, I forgot about the themes. So I have shown you the themes for AOD, but if we go back to settings and open the themes one more time, then over here we will also find the theme for our device. So here we have themes. Once again, we can go to tab and then select free. And if you're looking for something interesting or something like minimalistic, let's say this one, then here you can find a new theme and apply it on your device. So if you don't want to use the default one, then that's fine. You can find many different free themes that you can install on your Samsung Galaxy M55 5G. Alright, now the last thing that I want to show you is the quick access. So if you swipe twice from the top to the bottom, this is the quick access. You can tap on this pen over here in the top right corner in order to edit the quick access. And why you want to do that? Because some features are hidden and they are not added to the quick access. So we want to edit this one. Here we have the whole panel, and what you can, for instance, add is take screenshots, unless you are used to using taking screenshots with a gesture. But you can tap on it in order to add it. You can also press and hold it and then reposition it somewhere else if you want to. And another one that is, I think, essential to have is the NFC option. We also have the always on display. We can also add like secure folder if you use it. We have battery protection and so on and so forth. So as you can see, there are some options, even create note. There are some options that you might need to add to the list of options in the quick access, and this is how we can do this. We can also edit this these 6 buttons over here at the top. We are limited to 6 options only, but instead of going to edit the full one, we want to edit the top, and over here we can choose what we want to use over here. So for instance, if you don't use the the airplane mode that often, let's say, then you can disable it and add something else, like I don't know, like scan QR code, right? Or anything else in that matter. So this is pretty much it. I believe this is everything that we can do as our first steps on Samsung Galaxy M55 5G. Thanks for watching, leave a like and subscribe to my channel, and see you in my next videos. Bye!